In a world where pride often overshadows truth, Giacomo Agostini, the godfather of MotoGP, didn't flinch. He looked at Marc Marquez, saw history repeating itself with more teeth, more scars, more fire, and gave him the crown. While Rossi still whines about 2015 like a broken record stuck in Sepang, Agostini chose legacy over ego. Let's rip the veil off. Marc Marquez wasn't built for comfort or diplomacy. He was engineered for destruction, born to chew gravel, shatter bones, and come back laughing. And when he returned from hell, multiple surgeries, dislocations, nerve damage, vision problems, he didn't crawl. He walked back into the fire like it owed him something. And Giacomo Agostini saw that. The same Giacomo who made racing a religion before Rossi ever held a throttle. 122 wins, 15 world titles, God-tier status carved into asphalt, and throttle cables. So when that man says Marc Marquez is the heir, you shut up and listen. Open quote, "Marc is a great man and he deserves everything. We must bow to him, not boo him." Close quote. No spin, no filter, just a legend tipping his crown to another. Meanwhile, Rossi, he's still whining about 2015 like someone stole his lunch money at Sepang. Let's break it down. 1. Blood in the oil. Why Agostini chose Marquez over Rossi. Agostini is Italian. Rossi is Italian. Loyalty could have been easy, but Agostini chose honesty over heritage. You think that was easy? This wasn't just a compliment, it was a transfer of power. A symbolic handover from one immortal to another, skipping the man in between. That's not just respect, that's obliteration. Rossi, who built his brand on charm and cunning, can't stomach the idea that someone younger, faster, and with a titanium spine is coming for all his records. Rossi plays the victim. Agostini plays the sage. And Marquez? He plays for blood. When Rossi spent interviews crying about conspiracies, Agostini watched the same races and saw destiny unfolding. He didn't see a traitor. He didn't see a villain. He saw himself, reborn. 2. Audacity versus excuses, the DNA of true champions. Agostini raced on death traps. Bikes that tried to kill you every lap. No electronics, no tire sensors, no team radios, just raw speed and consequence. He didn't ask for sympathy, he demanded domination. So when he sees Marquez low-siding at 200 km/h, elbow buried in the tarmac, and still saving it, he knows. This ain't luck. This is madness with precision. Open quote, "He has audacity," Agostini said. Close quote, audacity, not arrogance, not trickery, not politics, just balls of tungsten and instincts wired for survival. Compare that to Rossi, who spent the better part of a decade blaming Marquez for every race he didn't win. Still talking about Sepang like it's some crime scene, still fishing for sympathy, still pretending that he was robbed, not beaten. Here's the thing. Agostini respects pain, but he worships accountability. That's why Marquez gets the nod, because he owns his failures and turns them into victories. Hat 3, 2023, the crucible that made Marquez immortal. Most riders would have quit. Let's not play games. Marquez's arm was destroyed, not injured, demolished. Multiple surgeries, nerve damage, lost vision, dislocated shoulders, painkillers just to walk. The man couldn't lift a spoon without shaking. Rossi fans laughed. They thought it was over. The clown had crashed too many times. The karma had caught up. But Agostini, he watched silently. And when Marquez came back, not fully healed, but fully armed, he knew what he was witnessing. Open quote, "He went through difficult moments from which it was not obvious to get out." Close quote. That line is brutal because it's clinical. Agostini isn't writing poetry. He's writing obituaries for the doubters, for the critics, for the riders who thought Marc was finished. And in that silence, something shifted. Because when a god looks down and nods in approval, history listens. The Honda exit. Money doesn't buy fire. Leaving Honda wasn't a decision. It was a warning. Marquez could have sat pretty, $1 million contract, factory love, legacy locked, but the man chose to risk everything for one more shot at domination. He left the brand he made legendary because loyalty without victory is a leash. Open quote, "He left to win again. That's what matters," Agostini said. Close quote, Agostini understands. He did the same when he left MV Agusta for Yamaha. Not because it was comfortable, because it was right. This is where Rossi fans go quiet. Rossi stayed too long. Yamaha bent over backwards for him. When the bike got tough, he folded. Blamed engineers, blamed Marquez, blamed the media. Marquez, he bled, suffered, then made the boldest move of his career. Agostini saw it and smiled, because that's what kings do. They don't beg, they hunt. R5, Marquez at Ducati. The monster reawakens. Now he's on a Ducati, not a satellite bike, not a tester, a full-blown death machine built for warfare. Agostini said it blunt. Open quote, if you want to win, you need the Ducati. Close quote. Translation, Marquez just loaded the shotgun. The titles are no longer a dream, they're a checklist. And Rossi, he watches from the sidelines, trying to convince people that Marc ruined the sport, that a few elbows and overtakes destroyed MotoGP. What this really means is he knows it's over. Marquez isn't coming, he's already here. And Agostini, he just handed him the blueprints. 6. Legacy is a battlefield. Why Agostini's blessing is the final nail. Let's not kid ourselves. Every legend wants to be the last word. Rossi's been playing this game for years. Media manipulation, fan base army, victim narratives. He thought if he could drag 2015 forever, he could freeze time. But Giacomo Agostini walked into the room, looked at the scoreboard, and said, open quote, it's time, close quote. No bitterness, no denial, just pure, uncut truth. He doesn't fear Marquez breaking his records. He wants it. He celebrates it, because real legends don't fear successors. They build legacies that demand one. 7. The Italian divide. 2 bloodlines, 1 truth. Agostini and Rossi share blood, language, and homeland. But that's where the similarity ends. Agostini is pride without ego. Rossi is ego without surrender. Agostini sees racing as a sacred right. He knows when it's time to step aside and acknowledge the next warrior. Rossi still wants to control the narrative, even as his glory fades in the rearview mirror. Agostini, he just writes truth in lap times. Rossi, he scripts delusions in press conferences. 8. The final chapters. The 8th, the 9th, and the end of debate. Let's talk reality. Marquez is sitting on 6 premier class titles, maybe 7 soon. With the Ducati, he's positioned to win 8 and possibly 9. That's beyond Rossi. That's knocking on Agostini's door. And the best part? Agostini is waiting with open arms. He's not panicking. He's not sabotaging. He's not building conspiracies. He's waiting on the finish line to shake hands with the man who finally ran him down. That's sportsmanship. That's legacy. That's how kings die standing. The future is already written. So what's left? Rossi can keep crying about Sepang 2015 until he runs out of microphones. The fans who booed Marquez at Mugello can keep throwing tantrums. But the truth is bulletproof. Marc Marquez is rewriting the sport with every race. And Giacomo Agostini just gave him the pen. You don't need more proof. You just need to read the scoreboard. Rossi built a brand, Agostini built a legacy. Marquez is building a revolution, with both of them watching, but only one of them smiling. And that smile belongs to the godfather of MotoGP. Because when Marc Marquez breaks every record in the book, the only name that'll stand tall beside his is Giacomo Agostini.